You think you know the story of Perry Mason, but the real drama happened after the credits rolled. From secret lives to tragic ends, the journey of the 1957 cast is filled with twists no screenwriter could imagine. Today, we're looking at the then and now of the actors who defined a genre. Stay tuned, because the fate of one legendary star will leave you completely stunned. Rediscover the icons of the courtroom. Raymond Burr as Perry Mason. Born on May 21, 1917 in New Westminster, British Columbia, Canada, the imposing actor first brought the brilliant defense attorney to life on the television series Perry Mason in 1957. At the age of 40, Burr's portrayal of the undefeated truth-seeking lawyer became a monumental television and cultural touchstone, practically defining the courtroom drama genre. For 9 seasons, his sharp cross-examinations and ability to draw out dramatic last-minute confessions set a gold standard for television lawyers, earning Burr 2 Emmy Awards and solidifying Perry Mason as one of the most recognizable and enduring legal figures in pop culture history. Despite the character's unassailable confidence, assertive nature, and highly public life in the courtroom, Raymond Burr was a gentle, deeply private, and shy individual whose off-screen reality starkly contrasted with his bold television persona. As a closeted gay man living in mid-century Hollywood, Burr carried the heavy burden of concealing his true identity from the public, even fabricating a tragic backstory involving a fictional deceased wife and child to satisfy relentless press inquiries and protect his career. Professionally, the grueling production schedule of Perry Mason demanded notoriously long hours, causing severe exhaustion, weight gain, and physical strain. He also struggled with the double-edged sword of typecasting. Having played primarily menacing film noir villains before the show, the overwhelming success of Mason restricted him almost entirely to rigid authoritative crime-solving roles for the rest of his career. Following Perry Mason, Burr continued his television success, starring as the brilliant wheelchair-using detective Robert T. Ironside in the hit series Ironside, which ran from 1967 to 1975. Off-screen, he finally found peace and stability, sharing a quiet, fulfilling life with his longtime partner actor, Robert Benavides. Together, they bred orchids and cultivated a successful vineyard in Sonoma County, California. Burr later returned to his iconic role for a highly rated series of 26 Perry Mason television films from 1985 until 1993. Raymond Burr passed away at his Sonoma County ranch on September 12, 1993, at the age of 76, from liver cancer that had metastasized from a malignant tumor in his kidney. Following his death, he left his entire estate to Benavides, a decision that sparked a brief but ultimately unsuccessful legal challenge from Burr's niece, leaving his partner of 33 years to peacefully continue their agricultural legacy. Barbara Hale as Della Street. Born on April 18, 1922 in DeKalb, Illinois, the actress first brought the highly competent confidential secretary to life when Perry Mason premiered. At the age of 35, Hale took on the defining role of Della Street, becoming a pioneering representation of the professional working woman on television. Her portrayal of the steadfast and intelligent assistant earned her a Primetime Emmy Award in 1959, and established Della Street as a cultural symbol of loyalty, sharp intuition, and professional grace that captivated audiences for 9 seasons. Despite the character's fiercely independent unmarried status and a life entirely consumed by the demanding legal battles of Perry Mason's office, Barbara Hale was deeply family-oriented and considered turning down the role entirely. A devoted wife and mother of 3 young children, she struggled with the prospect of the grueling television schedule and initially agreed to do only 18 episodes before her husband, actor Bill Williams, convinced her to stay. Following the show's cancellation in 1966, Hale faced the professional hardship of being heavily typecast. Her career became so inextricably linked to Della Street that finding diverse dramatic work became difficult, leading her to step back from major acting roles and instead spend years as the prominent television spokesperson for Amana Appliances. Hale embraced her legacy in her later years, returning to television in 1985 alongside Raymond Burr to reprise her iconic role in 30 Perry Mason made-for-TV movies, delightfully co-starring alongside her real-life son William Catt, who played investigator Paul Drake Jr. She remained married to her husband Bill for 46 years until his death in 1992, and retired from acting following the final Mason film in 1995. Barbara Hale passed away at her home in Sherman Oaks, California, on January 26, 2017, at the age of 94, from complications of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. Her death marked the end of an era, as she was the last surviving original cast member of the legendary Courtroom drama, leaving behind a lasting legacy in television history. Leonard Nimoy as Pete Chenery. Born on March 26, 1931 in Boston, Massachusetts, the aspiring actor spent years taking on various television bit parts before appearing on the hit 1957 legal drama Perry Mason. In the episode The Case of the Sulky Girl, Nimoy's guest-starring portrayal of Pete Chenery added a sharp, brooding intensity to the classic courtroom procedural. Though Pete Chenery was a supporting character within a single gripping whodunit, Nimoy's earnest and grounded performance contributed to the show's massive cultural impact as a definitive television mystery, serving as a vital stepping stone in a career that would soon change television history forever. Despite the often suspicious and hard-edged nature of the characters he played in early crime dramas like Perry Mason, Leonard Nimoy was in reality an immensely thoughtful, artistic, and gentle individual, a stark contrast to his on-screen television suspects. His professional journey was initially fraught with immense hardship. For over a decade, Nimoy struggled to find steady acting work, forcing him to take on various odd jobs, such as delivering newspapers, driving a taxi, and servicing vending machines to support his young family. Even after he transcended his early guest-starring days to achieve monumental global fame, he battled severe typecasting. This professional pigeonholing created an ongoing identity struggle, famously leading him to pen his first autobiography, I Am Not Spock, as he fought to be recognized by the industry for his wider range as a versatile performer, writer, and director. Leonard Nimoy eventually embraced his iconic sci-fi legacy while successfully expanding his creative horizons as a celebrated film director, poet, and photographer. He directed major motion pictures, including 2 Star Trek films and the hit comedy 3 Men and a Baby, while remaining deeply connected to his heritage and family. He remained active in the entertainment industry well into his later years, making beloved appearances on shows like Fringe and in the rebooted Star Trek cinematic universe. Leonard Nimoy passed away on February 27, 2015, at the age of 83, at his home in Bel Air, Los Angeles, from complications of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. His death was met with a monumental outpouring of worldwide grief, forever cementing his legacy as a cultural pioneer who urged the world to live long and prosper. Robert Redford as Dick Hart. Born on August 18, 1936, in Santa Monica, California, the aspiring actor was finding his footing in television when he stepped into the courtroom of the era's preeminent legal drama. In the 1960 episode, The Case of the Treacherous Toupee, the 24-year-old Redford portrayed Dick Hart. His performance gave audiences an early glimpse of the undeniable magnetism and quiet intensity that would soon make him a global Hollywood legend. Though it was a guest appearance, it remains a fascinating early milestone in his career, showcasing a future cinematic titan just as he was beginning to harness his formidable screen presence. Despite playing confident and polished characters in his early television stints, Robert Redford was deeply introspective and intensely private. He often felt uncomfortable with his emerging status as a Hollywood golden boy, a contrast that created a significant internal struggle. He found the industry's singular focus on his all-American good looks to be incredibly stifling. His early career was marked by the hardship of being typecast as merely a romantic lead, which initially made it difficult for him to be taken seriously as a gritty, dramatic actor or a visionary director. Disillusioned by the superficial nature of the studio system, he frequently retreated from the limelight to focus on his profound passions for environmentalism and the arts. Redford eventually achieved monumental superstardom in films like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting, and he forever changed the industry by founding the Sundance Institute to champion independent filmmaking. After decades of acclaim, including an Academy Award for Best Director for Ordinary People, he officially retired from acting following 2018's The Old Man and the Gun. Robert Redford passed away on September 16, 2025, at the age of 89 at his home in Sundance, Utah. His passing marked the end of a monumental era in American cinema, leaving behind an unparalleled legacy as both a legendary leading man and the most significant pioneer of the independent film movement. William Talman as Hamilton Burger. Born on February 4, 1915 in Detroit, Michigan, the seasoned actor found his defining television role when the hit legal drama Perry Mason premiered. At the age of 42, Talman's portrayal of Los Angeles District Attorney Hamilton Burger became a cultural touchstone. As the perpetually defeated but relentlessly dedicated prosecutor, he provided the perfect foil to Raymond Burr's undefeated defense attorney. Burger's dignified exasperation, formidable presence, and unwavering belief in the law made him an iconic television figure, fundamentally shaping the archetype of the courtroom adversary for decades to come. Despite the character's stern, frequently humorless, and flustered on-screen persona, William Talman was celebrated off-screen as a warm, articulate, and highly intelligent man with a sharp wit. Playing a prosecutor who famously lost week after week was a massive contrast to his real-life capabilities, and he struggled with the typecasting of being television's most famous loser, which largely overshadowed his earlier acclaimed work as a menacing villain in film noirs like The Hitchhiker. His most significant professional hardship occurred in March 1960, when he was arrested at a private Hollywood party and charged with violating morals laws. CBS immediately fired him under the network's morals clause, abruptly halting his career. However, the charges were quickly dismissed, and thanks to the fierce advocacy of his co-star Raymond Burr and a massive letter-writing campaign from loyal viewers, a reinstated Talman triumphantly returned to the series. After Perry Mason concluded its run in 1966, Talman's career and personal life were tragically cut short by failing health. A heavy smoker for most of his life, he was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. Knowing his prognosis, he spent his final weeks committing a groundbreaking act of public service by becoming the first actor to film an anti-smoking television commercial for the American Cancer Society. In the moving broadcast, he directly referenced his famous television role warning viewers about the dangers of smoking by stating that while he was used to losing cases, as Hamilton Burger cancer was a battle he was truly going to lose. William Talman passed away on August 30, 1968, at the age of 53 from lung cancer. His poignant public service announcement aired posthumously, leaving a powerful pioneering legacy in public health awareness that touched millions. Angie Dickinson as Marion Fargo. Born on September 30, 1931 in Culm, North Dakota, the talented actress first brought Marion Fargo to life during the inaugural season of the classic 1957 legal drama Perry Mason. At the age of 26, Dickinson's portrayal of the enigmatic and desperate client in The Case of the One-Eyed Witness became a memorable television moment, offering a captivating blend of elegance, mystery, and grit. Her successful performance in the hit series served as a crucial cultural and professional stepping stone, establishing the undeniable on-screen charisma that would soon catapult her to superstardom and allow her to break major barriers for leading women in primetime television. Despite the poised, mysterious, and self-assured nature of Marion Fargo and the tough, glamorous characters she would later become famous for, Dickinson was in reality deeply grounded, nurturing, and far more vulnerable than her on-screen personas suggested. This contrast defined much of her personal journey as she heavily prioritized her life as a mother over her Hollywood image. Her career was frequently marked by the struggle of being typecast as a superficial sex symbol, a label that made it difficult for her to find serious, nuanced roles as she fought to be respected for her dramatic capabilities. As she grew older, she faced the notorious ageism of the entertainment industry, experiencing difficulty finding substantial work once the golden era of her leading roles had passed. Additionally, her professional triumphs often came at a severe personal cost. She later admitted that the grueling production schedules of her hit television projects contributed heavily to the breakdown of her marriage to composer Burt Bacharach. Dickinson continued to take on roles in film and television through the 1990s and 2000s, including appearances in Pay It Forward and a cameo in the 2001 remake of Ocean's 11, though her primary focus remained off-screen. She devoted much of her life to caring for her daughter Nikki, who was born prematurely diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome and tragically died by suicide in 2007. Following this unimaginable heartbreak, Dickinson fully retreated from the spotlight, making her final acting appearance in the 2009 television movie Mending Fences. At 94, she is fully retired and living a fiercely private life away from the public eye, remembered as a resilient, trailblazing Hollywood icon. Adam West as Dan Southern. Born on September 19, 1928, the Walla Walla, Washington native first brought Dan Southern to life on the television classic Perry Mason 1957, in the Season 4 episode, The Case of the Barefaced Witness. At the age of 32, West's portrayal of the earnest and straightforward small-town journalist served as a significant early showcase of his rugged charm and dramatic capabilities, offering a memorable depiction of determination and grit. While only a guest role, his commanding screen presence left a lasting mark on the iconic Courtroom series, providing a vital stepping stone that hinted at the primetime success and pop culture immortality he would soon achieve. Despite the character's grounded, serious, and purely dramatic nature, Adam West was naturally eccentric, deeply comedic, and possessed a highly self-aware wit that contrasted sharply with the straight-laced Dan Southern. This juxtaposition became a defining theme of his career journey. He eventually found his greatest success leaning heavily into deadpan comedy. His career was also marked by the severe struggle of being typecast, which made it incredibly difficult for him to find serious acting work after the legendary run of Batman. The cancellation of that pop culture juggernaut brought a profound professional sting. West found himself marginalized by Hollywood executives who stubbornly refused to see him as anything other than a superhero, forcing him to make personal appearances in costume at regional fairs just to make a living. Adam West eventually embraced his iconic pop culture status, enjoying a massive career resurgence in his later years through voice acting, most notably reclaiming his comedic persona as the lunatic mayor Adam West on the animated hit Family Guy. He remained a beloved figure, staying married to his third wife, Marcelle Tagond Lear, from 1970 until the end of his life, and raising a large blended family. West passed away in Los Angeles, California, on June 9, 2017, at the age of 88, following a short but brave battle with leukemia. His death triggered an immense outpouring of grief from fans worldwide, and in a deeply touching tribute to his enduring legacy, the city of Los Angeles officially illuminated the bat signal on the tower of City Hall in the aftermath of his passing. James Coburn as Donald Fletcher / General Addison Brand. Born on August 31, 1928 in Laurel, Nebraska, the ruggedly handsome actor made two notable guest appearances on the legendary legal drama Perry Mason. In 1961, at the age of 32, Coburn portrayed Donald Fletcher, a ruthless and predatory magazine publisher, in the episode The Case of the Envious Editor. He later returned in 1962 to play General Addison Brand in The Case of the Angry Astronaut. In both roles, Coburn's imposing presence, distinctive toothy grin, and undeniable cool factor added a compelling layer of intensity to the series. His performances showcased the dramatic gravity that would soon make him a cinematic legend and the quintessential television tough guy. Despite the often ruthless scheming or rigidly tough nature of the characters he played, James Coburn in real life was deeply philosophical and a dedicated student of martial arts. He was a close friend of Bruce Lee and even served as a pallbearer at Lee's funeral. This stark contrast highlighted his immense acting range, though his early career was frequently marked by the struggle of being typecast as a macho sidekick or action villain. His most devastating professional hardship, however, was a severe decade-long battle with rheumatoid arthritis that struck in the late 1970s. The painful condition left him largely unable to work and caused him to nearly disappear from the screen for much of the 1980s as he sought alternative treatments. James Coburn eventually experienced a triumphant career resurgence in his later years, overcoming his physical struggles to win an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his powerful role in the 1997 film Affliction. He also endeared himself to an entirely new generation by voicing the villainous Henry J. Waternoose in Pixar's 2001 animated hit Monsters, Inc. James Coburn passed away on November 18, 2002, at the age of 74, from a massive heart attack at his home in Beverly Hills. He died peacefully in the arms of his wife, Paula. He is remembered as one of the most versatile and magnetic actors of his era, a man who transformed from a Perry Mason guest suspect into a true icon of the silver screen. Bette Davis as Constance Doyle. Born on April 5, 1908 in Lowell, Massachusetts, the legendary actress brought her formidable screen presence to television in the acclaimed legal drama Perry Mason. At the age of 54, Davis took on the role of Constance Doyle, stepping in as a special guest attorney to temporarily replace a hospitalized Raymond Burr during the show's 6th season in 1963. Her portrayal of a sharp, brilliant lawyer mourning her husband while fiercely defending a young client was a television milestone. It brought cinematic prestige to the series, offering audiences a rare and compelling female attorney in prime time, and her commanding performance remains one of the most celebrated guest appearances in television history. While Constance Doyle was a measured, legally bound advocate seeking truth and justice, Bette Davis was known for her fiercely rebellious and uncompromising personality off-camera. She frequently clashed with studio executives, famously suing Warner Brothers in the 1930s over her restrictive contract, showcasing a defiance that rivaled her dramatic roles. Her career was also marked by the harsh realities of ageism in Hollywood. By the late 1950s and early 1960s, she struggled significantly to find leading roles as the industry sought to push older actresses aside. This professional hardship famously culminated in her taking out a newspaper advertisement in Variety in 1962 explicitly seeking employment, a stark and courageous public struggle for an actress of her legendary caliber. Bette Davis continued to work relentlessly despite the shifting industry, starring in iconic late-career films like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane and making numerous television appearances. Her personal life was famously tumultuous, featuring 4 marriages and a deeply painful, highly publicized estrangement from her daughter B.D. Hyman, who published a scathing tell-all memoir, My Mother's Keeper, in 1985. Despite failing health, she worked almost to the very end of her life. Bette Davis passed away at the American Hospital in Neuilly-sur-Seine, France, on October 6, 1989, at the age of 81 from breast cancer. Her death marked the end of a golden age Hollywood era, and she was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Hollywood Hills Cemetery in Los Angeles, with an epitaph that perfectly summarized her resilient legacy. She did it the hard way. Cloris Leachman as Gloria Shine. Born on April 30, 1926, in Des Moines, Iowa, the powerhouse actress first brought the character of Gloria Shine to life in the 1957 Perry Mason episode, The Case of the Sulky Girl. At the age of 31, Leachman's portrayal of the distressed and complex woman embroiled in courtroom intrigue became a dramatic touchstone. Her performance offered a prime-time depiction of vulnerability and resilience that was both captivating and significant, showcasing the emotional depth that would eventually make her the most decorated performer in Emmy history. For early television audiences, her compelling delivery defined a character that remains a notable figure in the landscape of early legal dramas. Despite the character's intense, serious, and deeply troubled nature, Cloris Leachman was fiercely eccentric, lighthearted, and described by those who knew her as a comedic force, the polar opposite of the somber Gloria Shine. This contrast was a significant part of her personal journey. While she excelled in heavy dramatic roles, she found them creatively confining compared to the spontaneous comedy she craved. Her early career was marked by the struggle against being typecast in serious television dramas, which for a period made it difficult to find roles that allowed her to showcase her wit. Navigating the shifting landscape of 1950s television brought its own professional stings, as she frequently had to move between short-lived anthology programs before finding the stability of major sitcom success. Cloris Leachman eventually achieved an unparalleled legacy, winning an Academy Award for The Last Picture Show and becoming a household name as Phyllis Lindstrom on The Mary Tyler Moore Show. She proved her incredible range by moving seamlessly between high drama and broad comedy, later winning over a new generation of fans as Grandma Ida on Malcolm in the Middle. Throughout the 2000s, she remained a prolific force, even becoming the oldest contestant to compete on Dancing with the Stars. Cloris Leachman passed away on January 27, 2021, at the age of 94 in Encinitas, California. She is remembered as a trailblazing talent who broke every industry rule, leaving behind a 9-decade career that remains a benchmark for excellence in acting. Ray Collins as Lieutenant Arthur Tragg. Born on December 10, 1889 in Sacramento, California, the veteran actor first brought Lieutenant Tragg to life when Perry Mason premiered in 1957. At the age of 67, Collins's portrayal of the methodical, straightforward, and brilliantly irascible Los Angeles homicide detective became a television staple. His quasi-adversarial yet mutually respectful dynamic with the brilliant defense attorney offered audiences a compelling cat-and-mouse game that was both captivating and culturally significant for the era's legal dramas. For the show's early seasons, his gravitas and authentic performance defined a character that remains one of television's most iconic police detectives, establishing Tragg as a key element of the show's massive success. Despite the character's tough, cynical, and often adversarial nature as a hardened policeman, Ray Collins was a deeply dedicated, cultured, and soft-spoken artist of the stage and radio. Having amassed over 900 theatrical roles and famously collaborating with Orson Welles, the real Collins was highly respected and far from the gruff detective he portrayed. This contrast highlighted his immense acting range, though his later career was marked by significant professional hardships. As he aged into the demanding television role, Collins experienced the struggle of memory loss and found it increasingly difficult to memorize lines, a professional hurdle he attributed to his decades in radio, where scripts were simply read rather than memorized. By the early 1960s, his physical health began a steep decline due to severe emphysema, making it incredibly difficult to find the strength to continue his work. This tragic hardship ultimately forced him to stop filming entirely in 1963, prematurely halting his legendary career. Ray Collins's final episode of Perry Mason was broadcast in January 1964. Out of profound respect for the ailing actor-executive producer Gail Patrick Jackson, kept his name in the opening title sequence through the 8th season in 1965, knowing he still watched the show every week and wishing not to discourage him over his inability to work. Collins spent his final years quietly battling his illness alongside his wife Joan, while reflecting on a prolific career that spanned vaudeville Broadway, classic radio, and iconic films like Citizen Kane. He passed away at St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica, California, on July 11, 1965, at the age of 75, from emphysema. Following his death, Masonic funeral services were held to honor the beloved character actor, and his remains were laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills, leaving behind a legacy that is still celebrated by classic television fans. Jackie Coogan as Gunner Grimes. Born on October 26, 1914 in Los Angeles, California, the former child star brought a memorable presence to the 1957 legal drama Perry Mason. At the age of 46, Coogan's portrayal of the gritty and opportunistic Elwood P. Gunner Grimes became a standout television moment, showcasing his impressive transition from a beloved silent-era cherub to a versatile character actor. Although it was a guest role, his performance resonated with audiences and added a crucial layer of noir-tinged tension to the series, contributing to the show's massive cultural impact and solidifying its reputation as a premier primetime courtroom drama. Despite playing the scheming and cynical Gunner Grimes, Jackie Coogan was known in real life as a remarkably resilient, warm, and generous man whose personal demeanor stood in stark contrast to the shady adult characters he was often hired to portray. Coogan's life and career were marked by severe professional and personal hardships, most notably the devastating discovery that his mother and stepfather had squandered the $4 million fortune he had earned as a child star in Charlie Chaplin's The Kid. In his adult years, he experienced extreme difficulty finding work and battled the painful sting of typecasting as Hollywood producers struggled to accept him as anything other than a little boy. This forced him to take on minor television parts to stay afloat, though his public battle over his stolen earnings forever changed the industry by leading to the creation of the California Child Actors Bill, widely known as the Coogan Act. Jackie Coogan eventually found renewed fame and professional stability, famously taking on the iconic role of Uncle Fester in the 1964 sitcom The Addams Family, which endeared him to a whole new generation of fans. He continued to work steadily in television and film for decades, appearing on popular shows like Hawaii Five-0 and The Brady Bunch, while maintaining a quiet personal life with his fourth wife, Dorothea, whom he had married in 1952. Coogan passed away at a hospital in Santa Monica, California, on March 1, 1984, at the age of 69 from cardiac arrest. His death marked the poignant end of Hollywood's first major child star, but his aftermath left a permanent mark. His grandson Keith adopted the professional surname Coogan in his memory, and the crucial child protection labor laws born from his youthful exploitation continue to safeguard young entertainers to this very day. Mike Connors as Joe Kelly. Born on August 15, 1925 in Fresno, California, the talented actor stepped into the courtroom of the classic 1957 series Perry Mason during a highly unique moment in broadcast history. At the age of 39, Connors took on the role of attorney Joe Kelly in the 1964 episode The Case of the Bullied Bowler, acting as a pinch-hitting legal advocate while the show's main star, Raymond Burr, was away. His portrayal of the sharp, capable, and charismatic substitute lawyer was an immediate success, making such a profound cultural and professional impact that the network producers considered offering him the lead role permanently to pressure Burr during contract negotiations. Though he did not replace Burr, his commanding presence as Joe Kelly served as a pivotal touchstone, proving his undeniable ability to carry a legal crime drama and paving the way for his future as one of television's biggest leading men. Despite the commanding, hard-hitting, and assertive nature of the legal and investigative characters he portrayed, Mike Connors was an intensely private, gentle, and devoted family man who stood in stark contrast to his rugged on-screen personas. Born Cracker Ohanian, his early personal journey was marked by the struggle against ethnic discrimination, forcing him to obscure his Armenian heritage and change his name just to find a place in Hollywood. Professionally, his career faced several significant hardships. He dealt with the sting of abrupt show cancellations, including the premature ends of series like Tightrope and Today's FBI. Furthermore, the immense success of his tough guy roles proved to be a double-edged sword as he suffered from severe typecasting. This made it incredibly difficult for him to find diverse acting work or break out of the crime genre later in his career, and he even had to file a lawsuit against CBS and Paramount in 2011 just to secure unpaid royalties he was owed from his television legacy. Mike Connors spent his later years focusing on his private life, sharing a remarkable 67-year marriage with his college sweetheart, Mary Lou Willie, and dedicating himself to charitable work for mental health organizations, following the tragic schizophrenia diagnosis and subsequent death of his son. He continued to take on occasional television roles, including nostalgic guest spots on Diagnosis Murder and 2.5 Men, before fully stepping away from acting. Connors passed away at a hospital in Tarzana, California, on January 26, 2017, at the age of 91 from leukemia. His death, which tragically occurred just 1 week after his sudden diagnosis, prompted an outpouring of grief from the entertainment community, honoring a man who not only defined a television era, but also broke ground as a trailblazing Armenian-American leading man. Seeing the cast of Perry Mason then and now is a poignant reminder of how much the world has changed since 1957. These legends didn't just play characters, they became part of our families. As we celebrate their incredible lives and careers, we want to hear from you. Who was your favorite character in the series? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more deep dives into the classics.